Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'd like to tell you a story about my friend Peter Hall. Peter and his wife Sherry were friends with Jane and I. We were also neighbors. We both lived on Pine Forest Country Club golf course in Houston. We were actually just two doors apart. Jane and Sherry were close friends because they had played tennis together for several years on different tennis teams. But I got to know Peter, socially through activities in our neighborhood and at the country club, and different activities with Jane and Sherry, took place through tennis. I knew that Peter had an issue previously with cancer. He had prostate cancer, but he'd overcome that. But one day I came home from work and Jane told me that Peter and Sherry had gone to the doctor and that Peter had been diagnosed with the cancer coming back. And he was going through some tests and they were organizing some further testing and further treatment for him. So over the course of the next few weeks, I ran into Peter a couple times in the neighborhood. I invited him to a men's Bible study group that we were having at Pine Forest Country Club. And he came to that Bible study group a few times. Got to visit with him there, praying that things would turn around and the treatment would be effective. But one day I came home from work and Jane said that they had gotten a really bad diagnosis, that the doctor told them that the cancer was spreading throughout his body. Well, I talked to Peter a little bit when I ran into him, and hadn't really seen him at the Bible study group very much. And at one point Jane told me that the situation was really looking pretty grim for Peter. So I went to bed that night, and after she told me that, and I slept most of the night, but I woke up and couldn't go back to sleep. So I was praying, and while I was praying, the Lord spoke into my mind and spoke into my heart and said, I have a message for you to give to Peter. And that message is that Peter isn't saved. And I want you to talk to him about that. Well, I normally hadn't had any problem witnessing to people, but most of all the people that I witnessed to were either in prison and jail. I mean, it wasn't like a neighbor or a friend. So I was really struggling with that. Didn't go back to sleep the rest of the night. When I got up in the morning, I thought, don't worry, Peter won't be there today. He hasn't been coming recently to the Bible study group, and he's sick, so there's a good chance he won't be there. So I got up and got dressed, went to Bible study, walked in. There was Peter. So I went over to him and I softly told him that I'd like to talk to him after the Bible study. He said, sure, I'd be happy to talk to you. So after the Bible study was over, I sat down with Peter. I told him that I had a message to give him from God, which, okay, I knew that was going to be kind of weird for him, but I said, the Lord wants me to ask you if you're confident in where you're going to be going when you pass away, because we're all going to pass away. You just know that the time for you is really, really short. So when I told that to him, he broke down and he started crying. And I said, Peter, would you like to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? And he said, yes. So I told him, I said, Peter, it says in Romans 10:6, if you believe in your heart that Jesus Christ is your Lord, and you confess with your mouth that God rose him from the dead, you will be saved. And so we prayed for Peter's salvation. Well, after we finished praying, Peter was so happy. And I told him, I said, you don't have to have any, because at one point he said he was afraid about what was going to happen. I said, you don't have anything to fear, because the outcome for you is certain now. You're going to die. We're all going to die, but you're going to die. But you're going to go directly to heaven and be with Jesus and everyone in heaven. So over the course of the next few weeks, I got Peter and Sherry a book about the 91st Psalm. It's a great book because it really helps people who are dealing with really difficult situations and dealing with challenges. They appreciated that. After those few weeks, Peter passed away. Well, I was honored that his wife Sherry asked me to give a eulogy at his funeral. So I went to the funeral. It was a big funeral, a lot of people. And I told this story to the people who were there. And I told them at the end, I said, we're all sad to lose Peter, but today's the day to rejoice because we know where Peter is. Peter's in heaven with the Lord. And if you're a follower of Jesus, you're going to be joining him sometime, maybe soon. And I asked them the question, same question that the Lord asked me to ask Peter. Do you know where you're going? Are you sure? If you're not, you better think about that. And today, I told you Peter's story, and I'll ask you the same question. Do you know? Are you sure? Thank you all. Love you.